Right, student, I hope you can hear me. Yes, so we will start the today's session. Fine. I hope everyone can hear me and see me well. So yes, so what we are going to discuss today is we are going to discuss the financial management lesson, which is the 15th lesson of your syllabus. A-level syllabus එකේ ළමයි එතකොට 15th lesson is the financial management, and so we are going to discuss that lesson today. Clear? Right. So I hope you are having the notebooks as well. If not, you can have even foolscaps or whatever the sheets you want to take down your notes. That's all right. So we will start the lesson. And one thing, this is a kind of a lesson which is almost related with your accounting lesson as well, your accounting subject as well. තමයි මේ lesson එකේ there are certain parts which are directly related or even directly and indirectly related with your accounting subject as well. So therefore there are certain places you will have to get the support of your accounting knowledge as well. මේක ළමයි එතකොට ඔයාට මේ lesson එකේ මේ financial management lesson එකේ business studies, even though this is a business studies lesson, make a business studies lesson එකක් එක BS lesson එකක්, but anyway there are certain places you will have to take the support from your accounting lessons as well. accounting වලින් ළමයි ඔයා support එක ගන්න ඕනි situations තියෙනවා. So therefore that knowledge may also be required. Clear there? Yes, that knowledge may also be required for this lesson in certain cases. But anyway, don't worry if you are not doing accounting or accounting කරන්නේ නැහැ කියලා, don't worry. I will try my level best to give you the support for the students, those who do not have the accounting knowledge. But anyway, it is really easy to understand. No worries, මේක understand කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකද worry වෙන්න යන්න එපා ළමයි. අපිට manage කරගන්න පුළුවන්. accounting දන්නේ නැහැ කියන එක not a problem to skip this lesson. So we will manage it somehow, right? At the same time ළමයි, we are going to finish this lesson within maximum 3 or 4 sessions. And also this lesson a kind of a lesson මේක පොඩ්ඩක් විතර ළමයි lesson එකේ there may be some complications, but I will teach you in a way you will not get complications at all. ඔයාලා පොඩ්ඩක්වත් අවුලක් වෙන්නේ නැති වෙන්න මම මේ lesson එක උගන්වන්න. මේක ටිකක් විතර ළමයි සමහර වෙලාවල් වලට උගන්වලා තියෙන teaching guides වල තියෙන විදිය, and also the some of the books how they have presented this lesson. It is a way, the way is not appropriate way to understand the students. ළමයිට මේක ටිකක් තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ සමහර ගොඩක් books වලයි ඔය teaching guide වල එහෙම දීලා තියෙන විදිය. The students cannot understand how these concepts get related each other. So, but I will teach you step by step very carefully in a way you can understand and get a clear knowledge regarding this lesson. By that you will be definitely able to get the marks from the questions which will be tested at your exam. Understood? Right. එතකොට exam එකේ අහන question වල හරියටම ලියා ගන්න පුළුවන් ගානටම අපි හැදෙන්න ඕනේ. So we will start accordingly. And අපි start කරමු ළමයි. I hope everything is fine. So write the topic financial management. Financial management. Financial management. Financial management. Right, okay. So what do you mean by financial management? Financial management. What do you mean by that financial management? Give me 1 second. Right, okay. So what do you mean by financial management, Lamai? Here, we are going to define financial management first. We are going to define or we are going to give you the definition. Lamai, if give me 1 second, I will tell you. I am going to complete this lesson in 3 ways. Again, make a score. There are 3 areas we have to cover. Clear? So that's how I have divided this entire lesson. For the ease of teaching you මම වාට ගන්න ළමයි ලේසි වෙන විදිහට මම මේ lesson එක I have divided this lesson into 3 areas. First part is what we are going to do today is the introduction part, and plus what are the areas or the decisions relevant to financial management. Clear? That is what we are going to teach you today. And second part, first part එකේ ළමයි වාට ගන්නනේ introduction plus the financial decisions, financial management decisions, and there are certain other relevant areas, so those things will be discussed within the first part. Secondly, we are going to discuss the financial report analysis. This is what you known as the ratio analysis. මේක තමයි ළමයා ratio analysis කියලා කියන්නේ. This is a part where you might have done or you should have done actually in your accounting as well. So this part is also in your accounting. So that's why I told you there are certain areas which are related with the accounting as well, right? Thirdly, what we are going to do is the financial system. So these are the 3 areas we have to cover when it's come to financial management. Is that understood? ළමයි ඒතොර මේ areas තුන තමයි අපි cover කරන්න ඕනේ. Clear? This area, this is and these areas are not mentioned in books. ළමයි මේවා එහෙම book එකක කොහෙවත් mention කරලා නැහැ. This is how I have classified this lesson in a way to teach you. මට ඔයාලට අර ගන්න මේක ටිකක් අර ලේසි විදියට උගන්න ගත්තොත් තමයි ඔයාලා මාර්ගය understand කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Clearද? ඒතකොට ඒකට මම මේක break කරනවා මෙන්න මේ විදියට lessons තුන. So first of all, we are going to do this part today, and second day we are going to do this part, and thirdly we can do, sometimes this may take sometimes make a little bit longer than other parts. පොඩ්ඩක් විතර දිගට යනවා මේ part එක. So this may take sometimes 2 sessions even. We will decide depend on our time, but anyway today we are going to discuss this part. Clear? Right. First of all, in this introduction part, what we are going to do is we are going to identify what you mean by financial management, and we are going to define it. Another thing is, I will tell you one point. This lesson you can do at the class itself. Make class එකේදීම ළමයි වැඩ ටික ඉවර කරගන්න. No need to study this or no need to have a separate time and do the studies for this lesson again. මේ lesson එක ආයෙත් පාඩම් කරන්න තියාගන්න එපා. Understood? Do not wake up early morning and try to study financial management at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Clear? You can, I will go step by step very carefully, and you can take all these concepts what we are learning in the class to your mind at the class itself. මට පන්තියේදී නම් මේ වැඩ ටික ඉවර කරගන්න ඕනේ. Clearද? ඒතර ආයි ගිහිල්ලා මේක වෙනම බලන්න worry වෙන්න reason එකක් නැහැ. clear නේද? ඔන්න points ටික පොඩ්ඩක් උඩට දාගන්න ඕනේ. මම lesson එක ආයේ පොඩ්ඩක් යනකොට ළමයි ආයේ පොඩි පොඩි points ටිකක් මම ඔයාලට set කරලා දෙන්න. ඒවෙන් තමයි අපි මේ lesson එක අල්ලගෙන යන්නේ. clearද? right. එහෙනම් first of all we start financial management. ළමයි when it's come to a business, you know, to run a business or to start a business. Sometimes you may starting a business or sometimes you may continue one of the business you are doing already. or දැනටමත් කරන business එකක් කරනවා නම් හරි නැත්නම් පුතා අලුතෙන් business එකක් start කරනවා නම් whatever the situation, you want to have what? Most important thing is what? To have money. Without money, can you do this? No. ආට සල්ලි නැතුව පුතා business එක කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? බෑ. අලුතෙන් business එක start කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? බෑ. At the same time, will you be able to continue your business even without money? No. So money is the most important thing. Clear? So here, instead of throughout this lesson, we are going to talk about this money. මේ money තමයි කතා සල්ලි ගැන තමයි කතා කරන්න යන්නේ. මේ throughout the lesson we are going to talk about money. But here remember, instead of saying money, we use the term funds. Clear lamai? Now අපි සල්ලි කියන්නේ නැහැ, money කියන්නේ නැහැ. Instead of that what we are saying? Fund. That is the first point you have to take. Right. Now whenever you are going to start, let's assume you are going to start a business. Forget about the scenario, you are continuing your business. Forget about that for a while. We will assume you are going to start a business. Now you want to have money or funds. There may be certain ways to collect or obtain the funds. Then පුතා වාට සල්ලි obtain කරගන්න ඕනේ. You have to collect, or even we can say obtain funds before you start the business. Is that correct? Yes. Clear? There may be different ways or different options may be available you to collect or obtain these funds. වාගේ මේ required fund එක ළමයි ගන්න different ways තියෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? Yes, there can be different ways. One way is you can have your own funds. වාට ඔයාගේ own funds තියෙනවනේ. Let's say you have collected some amount of funds as of now by doing one of the businesses or any other business or whatever the jobs you have done so far, you have collected some funds. So you can use that fund. Yes. Yes, you can. At the same time, let's say if your parents or the cousins, they are willing to give you some amount of money to start this business, yes, you can collect from them as well. Isn't that correct? Yes. එකක් හරි. එහෙම ගන්න පුළුවන් ළමයි. Or else ළමයි there may be some good friends you may have. නේ වාට හොඳ යාළුවෝ අපිට නෑ. මේ තුලා සල්ලි ටිකක් business එකක් start කරනවා. Can you give me some money to start this business as a help කියලා ඇහුවාම ටක් ගාලා help කරන යාළුවෝ ඉන්න පුළුවන්. You may have. Clear? So you can collect from them as well. Yes. That's another way you can collect. And also, there are in your villages or towns, there are people who are giving loans, personal loans. Personally, we call him as the polyman, polymudalali. You can collect from him as well. If you don't have any other ways to get money, you can go to that polymudalali and get some funds for this requirement. Another way, finally, you can go to the bank and get a bank loan as well. So there are different ways. Isn't that correct? What there are options that they will correct. So first of all, you have to obtain the money step by step. There's no hurry. We will go by step. The way the obtaining there are different options you have. Clear, as I said. Clear. But when you are collecting, these funds, you always have to select the appropriate way, or we can even say the most appropriate ways you have to follow. Clear. Let's say if the Polymudalali's collection or collecting from Polymudalali and fulfill your fund requirement, if it is not appropriate, then you have to forget about that option. Sometimes you may, the most appropriate way is to collect from your friends or cousins or your parents and use the funds you have collected. So whenever you are obtaining funds to start this business, always you have to use or follow an appropriate way. Appropriate way. Is that understood, Lamai? When you are obtaining the funds, always you have to collect those funds from most appropriate way. Collect the funds from most appropriate way. Clear there? Right. Then again, once you collect this money, clear, now you collected this money or obtained these funds to start your own business. Clear? Now, when you have collected these funds, again you have to make sure you are investing these funds. You are investing these funds on businesses effectively. Funds investing effectively. Even you can say productively, that is also fine. Effectively you are investing these funds. Now let's say now you collected the funds. But you are not starting the business. Without starting the business, you are doing any other kinds of things. Let's say from the collected or the obtained funds, you are going to buy a motorcycle. දැන් බයික් එකක් ගන්න ඕනේ කියලා හිතලා බයික් එකක් ගන්න හදන. මේ සල්ලි එකතු කරේ මොකටද? සල්ලි එකතු කරේ you collected funds to start the business. Whenever you are asking money from your friends and the parents and even from the bank, you said you are going to start a business. That's how you collected. That's how you obtained the money. Obtain money. Clear. But now you are without investing into the business, you are going to buy a motorcycle and the balance amount you are going to use to buy an Apple phone. Apple phone එකක් ගන්න හිතනවා සල්ලි ටික අතර ආර පස්සේ. Clear? Let's say you collected 10 million. Million or just 1 million කියලා ගමුකෝ. Yes. 1 million you collected. Clear? 1 million. 500,000 used to buy a motorcycle. And the balance will be used to buy an Apple phone. Clear? Now, is that the way you have to know? You obtain these funds to invest on your business. So you have to make sure you are investing your funds effectively on business activities. Business activities. Is that understood? Then story step is that all right? Yes. So whenever you are starting a business, you have to obtain funds and also you have to invest fund. Clear? Now finally, what you are going to do is by doing this business, business you are the owner. Let's assume you are the owner, one and only owner, you are the man. Clear? what is your final expectation by doing this business as a owner? As the owner, what is your final expectation? දැන් ඔයාගේ ළමයා බිස්නස් එකක් කරන්න නිකන් ඉන්න බැරුවද? නිකන් ඉන්න බැරුවට ගිහිල්ලා මිනිසුන්ගේ සල්ලි එකතු කරන් බිස්නස් එකක් ස්ටාර්ට් කරනවා. What is the purpose of doing this business? Yes, maybe you are satisfying human needs and wants, but I am asking, what is the requirement or what is the ultimate purpose for yourself? ඔයාට මොකද්ද මේකෙන් වා කරගන්න හදන්නේ? Clear, you want to become a what? You want to become a wealthy person. Wealthy person. You want to become wealthy person. So you want to increase your wealth. Clear? අන්තිමට ළමයි ඔයා බලන්නේ මේ කොහොම හරි කළා ධනවත් වෙන්න නෙවෙයි අපි ධනවත් වෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ. නේ? ධනවත් වෙන්න බලන්න. Clear? So the ultimate purpose is to improve your wealth. Ultimate purpose is to improve your wealth by doing all these things. Clear? Or just maximize your wealth, owner's wealth. Clear? So maximizing the wealth is the final goal you want to achieve. Owner's wealth, maximizing owner's wealth. Clear? Right. So this is what you mean by financial management. ළමයි මෙන්න මෙතනයි definition එක තියෙන්නේ. Clear නේ? දැන් මේ so far clear ද? Right, done. මෙන්න මේ points තුනෙන් තමයි පුතා අපි definition එක හදාගන්නේ here. Now you have to obtain funds from most appropriate way or the appropriate ways. Clear? And investing these funds effectively on business activities. Clear? And finally, you want to make sure the owner's wealth is maximized. Our final objective or the aim of financial management is to maximize the owner's wealth. And everything we are doing relevant to these 3 points is what you know as financial management. So the financial management is the process. එතකොට පුතා financial management කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? මෙන්න මේ වැඩ තුන. මේ තුනයි මෙච්චරයි තියෙන්නේ. ඔක තුන වා definition එකට දාන්න මෙච්චරයි. Once you include all these 3 points into your definition, that is the definition for financial management. Understood? How to define that from definition එක දෙන්න, don't worry. Financial management is the process of obtaining funds from appropriate ways. Clear? දැන් මේ simple කියන්නේ ඕක ලස්සනට අපි හදලා ලියමු. And investing those funds effectively on business activities to increase or to maximize owner's wealth. All management related activities that relevant to these things is what you know as financial management. Is that understood, Lamai? In case at the exam, if you were asked to write the financial management, now do you have to by heart or cram this definition? මේක පාඩම් කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ නම. You just can remember. නේ points තුන අමාද පුතා points තුන මේ points තුන ඔහොම ඔලුවට දාගමු. මෙහෙම ඔලුවට දාලා ඉවර කරමු. එච්චරයි. definition එක දෙන්න. ඒතර one shot ඔයාලා definition එක ලියනකොටම everything is in your mind, nothing to wake up early morning, no need to wake up early morning and read these things again and again. Clear? Right. Obtaining the funds from appropriate ways. Clear? Right. Then investing funds effectively on business activities to maximize owners what? Wealth. Owners wealth. I will explain you what you mean by this owners wealth in the second step. Right. Okay. So that is so these are the 3 points. එනලම points තුන මොනවද? මෙච්චරයි points තුන. ඔයා short note එකක් හදනවා නම් even you can have financial management එකේ points තුන මොකද්ද? Obtaining appropriately, investing funds effectively on business activities to maximize owners. Done. Right. Shall we write the definition? So you have to have the first you have the topic financial management, which is our lesson topic, and then we are going to define. So you can just have the definition topic එකක් දාන subtopic එකක් definition. So we are going to Read the definition. I'm going to give you the definition now. Clear, Lama? Understood the right? Okay. Any problem? Let me know. All the management activities, all the management activities all the management activities all the management activities related 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 all the management activities related to maximizing owner's wealth owner's wealth owner's wealth through 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 obtaining fund obtaining funds from appropriate sources from appropriate sources obtaining funds from appropriate sources and investing the funds and investing the funds and investing the funds effectively in business activities in business activities is known as financial management is known as financial management is known as financial management is known as financial management. Is that all right? Clear? So just you have to say the all the management activities related to maximizing owner's wealth through doing what? Through doing what? මොනා කරලා ළමයි maximize කරන්නේ? අපි කරන්නේ maximize කරන එක. What? Owner's wealth. Yes. මොනවා කරලාද පුතා maximize කරන්නේ? How we are maximizing? By performing these two things. These two activities. What are they? What they are? Yes. Obtaining the funds from appropriate ways and investing them on business activities effectively. Clear, right? Or underline කරගන්න ඕනේ. Or if you have the highlighter, you have to highlight these 3 points. Obtaining funds, appropriate sources. Clear? The obtaining funds, appropriate sources. Appropriate ways කියලා පුතා මම මෙතන ලිව්වට definition එක අපි sources කියලා ලිව්වේ, right? Obtaining funds, appropriate sources, right? Next one. Investing funds effectively on business activities. Investing funds effectively on business activities. Ek second point highlight. And the first point, උඩම තිබුණ තව point එක මොකද්ද? Owner, maximizing owner's wealth. හරිද? Right, done. Definition is over. Right. Now I will take this point and explain you further. මම මේක තව ටිකක් පුතා explain කරන්න. I know you don't have a good idea regarding what you mean by this maximizing owner's wealth. මේ maximizing owner's wealth කියන එකේ meaning එක පුතා, there may be some kinds of doubts you may have. So I'll explain what do you mean by this maximizing owner's wealth, right? Maximizing owner's wealth. Right. What do you mean? Ramay, now let's say I will explain this concept with regards to two kinds of business organizations. Now you know, as our first lesson, now first lesson grade 12 first lesson. In that lesson, we learned one of the way we can classify the businesses based on their objective. Business එකක් තමයි objective based classify කරන්න කොහොමද කියලා ඒකෙමයි ගන්නවා. මොනවද? Objective based. Let's say if you are classifying the businesses based on objective, there are two kinds of businesses. What they are? Profit businesses and non-profit businesses. Businesses for profit and businesses who are not expecting to earn profits. Clear? So profit and non-profit. Clear? But throughout our business studies syllabus, we are always focusing on what businesses. ළමයි අපි හැමතිස්සෙම BS syllabus එකේදී businesses කියලා අපි mean කරන්නේ whenever we are referring to the term business, what does it mean? It always means about what? Profit earning businesses. එතකොට අපි BS syllabus එකේ අපි හැමතැනම කතා කරද්දී businesses කියලා කියන හැම වෙලේම unless if it is specifically mentioned කරේ නැත්නම් අපි හැමතිස්සෙම mean කරන්නේ මොන businesses ද? Profit businesses or profit earning businesses. Here also is the same. Right, when it comes to profit earning businesses, the major kinds of business organizations which are aiming the profits are incorporated companies and sole proprietorship. Say, similar to that, we can take even partnerships as well, because just a small difference. Partnership, sole proprietor almost looks like the same, and almost the characteristics are same. The small, only the difference is what? Sole proprietor has one owner, but the partnership are having more owners. Clear? Other than that, the almost it's look like the same. Without separating. So when it's come to maximizing owners wealth, I am going to explain what does it mean with regards to sole proprietorship, and what do you mean by maximizing the wealth relation to companies. පුතා company side එකෙන් ඔය maximizing wealth කියන එකේ meaning එක තමයි increasing the share prices. Increase of share prices. Clear? Always the companies, they collect their required capital by issuing what we have learned in under what business organization lesson එකේ මම උගන්වලා තියෙන්නේ. Companies are collecting and gathering their required capital by issuing what? By issuing shares. So when the share prices are increasing, that is what you mean by maximizing owners' wealth regards to companies. Understood? Right, okay. Then when it's come to sole proprietorship, sole proprietorship එක side එකකින් වාට ඔක explain කරන්න කියලා කිව්වොත්, there are no such thing called shares in sole proprietorships and even the partnerships. Okay, ළමයි shares කියලා જાතියක් නැහැනේ. Are we issuing shares for sole proprietorships? No. Are we issuing shares for partnerships? No. So what does it mean? When it's come to sole proprietorships, the meaning of maximizing owner's wealth or the increase of the owner's wealth means the value of the business increased or the increase of the value, increase of value, sorry, increase of value of the business. So this is the meaning you have to give. Simple nelamai. So whenever you have been asked to explain what you mean by maximizing owner's wealth, if it is a company, what does it mean? Increase of share prices. If it is a sole proprietorship, even for the partnership, you can give the same meaning. It is the increase of the value of the business. Business එකේ value එක වැඩි වෙනවා. business එකේ value එක වැඩි වෙනවා කියන point එක sometimes එතකොට එතනත් ඔයාලා නිකන් problem වගේ නම් මම මෙන්න මේක explain කරන්නම්. This is something I have taught you before in other lessons even. Clear? Right? මෙන්න මේක those who are doing accounting, you know, in one situation I told you how to decide whether this business worth or not. Business එකක් තමයි worth ද නැද්ද? For an example මේ හිතන්නකෝ there is a business මේ එකක් මෙයා හොඳට explain කරගෙන ගියපුවාම තමයි ඔයාට financial management කියන එකේ area එක ඔක්කොම touch වෙන්නේ. Clear? That's why I am taking step by step. නැත්තම් මේක ටක් ගාලා ඉවර කරන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නෙමෙයි මේක කරන්න ඕනේ. Step by step යන්න ඕන පුතා අර වටේ ටික ඔක්කොම අල්ලගෙන. එතකොට ඔයාට after certain point of time you will get to know everything. ටක් ගාලා අර ඉතින් එහාට යන ටික ඔක්කොම understand වෙනවා. මෙන්න මේ point එක අහගන්නකෝ clearly. Right. Now let's say there is a business for sale. business එකක් තියලා විකුණන්න. Clear? දැන් business විකුණන්න කඩේ මේ මට කඩේ කරන් යන්න බෑ. මම ඒක කඩේ විකුණනවා බඩුවේ ඔක්කොමයි business එක සම්පූර්ණ විකුණනවා. Now if someone is asking whether you are willing to buy this, මේක ගන්න කැමතිද කියලා අහුවොත් first thing how we are going to design this business. Now එයා කියනවා මෙහෙම I want 300 rupees for this business. Let's say assume these values are in millions කියලා හිතාගන්න just take 300. Now how you are going to decide whether this business worth 300 or not. කොහොමද බලන්නේ? There may be different ways, but in accounting වා මෙන්න මේ rule එක use කරන්න පුළුවන් assuming all other factors are not relevant. අපි වෙන අනම්මන factors මොනවත් නැහැ කියලා හිතන්නකෝ ළමයි. This is the way you can use in accounting. For an example ඔයා අහන්න. මේ accounting මේ නැත්තම් මේ business එකේ you take the balance sheet or we are not using the balance sheet word as of these now දැන් අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ we are using statement of financial position. You know what does it mean? ඔයා දන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා. Clearly? And in that case you will find this formula equity plus liability equals assets equals asset. This is the formula you are very familiar with. මේ මාර familiar මේ formula එකත් එක්කනේ. Right. මේ formula එකේ ළමයි let's say then this is the same thing you will find in the statement of financial position as well. A statement of financial position එකේ කියන්නේ તો scene එකනේ assets are being shown in one area and the equity and the liabilities are being shown in one other area. Clear? Let's say this business is like this. So now the current owner is saying, current owner is saying, since we have almost 300 value of assets. I want to sell my business at 300 rupees. කියලා හිතන්නකො ළමයි නිකන් එහාම කියනවා කියලා හිතන්නකො. assume කරන්නකො. Now, are you going to pay 300? Or is this business really worth 300? Okay, 300 ඇත්තම වටිනවද? No. Why? Yes. The asset value, the assets මෙන්න මේ concept එකේ point එක අල්ලගන්න පුතා you the students who are doing accounting they may know, but even some students who are doing accounting has not understood this concept. මේක අහනවා මෙන්න මේ accounting equation එකේ කියන story එක මොකක්ද? These are the things you have, which means the assets. These are the things you have and how it has been financed. මේක ගන්න ළමයි සල්ලි හම්බුනේ කොහොමද? How this has been financed is being shown in this side. මේ සයිඩ් එකේ පෙන්නන්නේ පුතා මේ assets ටික ගන්න සල්ලි කොහොමද ආවේ කියන එක නේද? ඔකනේ simple meaning එක accounting එකේ. එතකොට we have this 300 rupees of assets, but out of the 300 rupees or to buy this 300 worth of assets, external parties have given us how much? 200, but owners have given us only how much? 100. Clear? Now, once you purchase all these assets by paying 300, you have to understand what? You have to understand what? Out of these 300, 200 belongs to external parties which you have to pay in future. Clear? So exactly the business value is how much? How to value the business? Assuming all other facts are constant. අනිත් ඔය අනම්මනලම business එකේ values අපි බලන future business opportunities, future sales generation ඔක්කොම අපි think they are not relevant. එහෙනම් මේ business එකේ අපේ worth එක කීයද පුතා? may 300 only, may 200, it is not actually the things belongs to you. Those belongs to external parties. So the exact value is how much? You have to deduct this from, or you have to deduct these liabilities from this asset. Then you will get this value. This is the value of the business, which is what you call as ළමයි මේකට මොකක්ද අපි කියන්නේ? net asset value එකක් කියලා කියනවා. net assets. නේ accounting කරන ඔයා නම් ඒවා calculate කරලා තියෙන්නේ. net assets shows the real value of the business. Is that understood? ඒක තේරුණා නේද point එක? Clear? Right. ළමයි how actually net assets shows when other things are not there, it's almost the equity නේ. ඒකම තමයි equity කියලා එන්නේ. Clear? When all other matters මොනවත් නැහැ නැත්තම් equity තමයි. එක හරියද? Right, good. Then how this equity can increase? මේ equity කොහොමද පුතා increase වෙන්නේ? දන්නවා. equity increase වෙන reasons මොනවද? Equity increase reasons මොනවද? Yes. One thing is equity increases when the owners are investing more and more, which is what you call as investing additional capital. Additional capital දැම්මොත් තමයි මේක increase වෙනවා. Assume there no one is investing or what do you call investing additional capital මොනවත් නැහැ. Clear? Then the main way this can go up or increase is what? You know, you have learned in accounting. Yes. What? The profit. You know the profit belongs to the owners and that will be always added to equity. So whenever this equity increases, the equity increase it gives you a profit. Understood? So that is what you mean when the meaning එක ඇතුලේ තියෙන ඕක. Clear? Increase වෙනවා කියලා කියන්නේ business එකේ value එක වැඩි වෙනවා. market එකේ විකුණන්න පුළුවන් business එක market එකේ විකුණන්න පුළුවන් ගාණ වැඩි වෙනවා. Clear? දැන් මෙතන පුතා මේ හිතන්නකෝ මේ දැන් කලින් situation එකේ මේක 100 තිබුණේ. අපි තුම profit එක විදියට මේ year එකේ 50 add වුණා. So the equity will increase up to what? 150. And the 200 will remain as same and this will be 350. Now after end of this year, then let's say 300 was the beginning of the year, and end of the year, if you are going to buy this business, you can't tell the owner I will pay 100 because it's worth more than 100 now. What is the value in what is the now value for the business? Net asset here 150, which means what? You can sell this business 150. How this became from 100 to 150? Because of the profit. අන්න ඒක තමයි ඔය කියන්නේ මොකක් කියලාද? Increase or the maximizing or the increase of owners wealth කියන එකේ meaning එක ඒකයි. එතකොට business එක ඕන එක wealth එක වැඩි වෙන්න business එකේ value එක මොකද වෙන්න ඕනේ? market එකේ විකුණන්න පුළුවන් ගාන වැඩි වෙනවා business එක. අන්න ඒ point එක තමයි පුතා මෙතන explain කරේ. ඔක දැන් තේරුණාද? Is that understood? Clear? ඉතින් බලන්න ඒකම මෙතන කියන්නේත් ඕකම තමයි, but it always we are expressing in terms of share prices. Share prices are increasing. How you know let's assume this is a quoted public company. Like a quoted public එකක් කියලා හිතන්න. You know what the quoted public company or the listed companies කියන්නේ මොනවද කියලා I have taught you. The companies which whose shares will be sold at Colombo Stock Exchange. හරි මේක stock exchange එකේ විකිනනවා නම් පුතා ඇයි මේ prices උඩ යන්නේ? When the company is performing well, when the company is performing well, the share prices goes up. What do you mean by performing well? They are earning good what? Profits. එහෙනම් එතනක් තියෙන profit එක. ඇත්තටම පුතා මේ කියන්නේ owners wealth කියලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? Profit එක earn කරන එකට. Increase in profit එක එන්න add වෙනවා කියන එක තමයි ඔගේ meaning එක. But we are expressing that in these two ways. Clear? Companies share price increase. This is the increase of the business value or the worth of the business increasing. Clear? Is that 2 points are cleared? Other than this point, I don't think you will be tested. උත්තර නම් අහන එකක් නෑ. ඔක නිකන් explanation purpose එකට මම මේ explain කරලා දුන්නේ. Clear ළමයි ඔක දන්නේ නැති කට්ටිය ඔන්න වැඩේ හරි නේද? Right. Done. Now පල්ලෙහායින් point එකක් ලියන්න ඕනේ. You have to take, now we have done the definition first. Right? Now you can put a star mark, asterisk or a star mark or whatever the mark you want. Even a flower is fine. මලක් හරි කමන්නේ දාගන්න. දාලා ලියන්න ඕනේ මෙන්න මේ point එක. Clear? Right? So we'll run. The meaning of maximizing owner's wealth. Put a star mark හරි මොකක් හරි දාලා ලියන්නේ. හරි නේද? Right. මේ point එක explain කරලා ලියන්න. The meaning of maximizing owner's wealth is put a comma එකක් දාන්න. Put a comma and say comma එකක් දාලා ඕනනම් පල්ලෙහෙන් ආයෙ මෙහෙම dash එකක් දාලා first point එකේ dash එක දාලා ඔහොම ලියන්න. Right. එහෙම හොඳයිනේ. Right. For companies means nama incorporated companies. You can even write as incorporated companies. For companies, maximizing owners' wealth is the increase of share prices. Increase of share prices. Okay, then right. Second point එකේ ආයේ මේ වගේ dash එක දාන්න. හරිද? note එක හදාගෙන යන්න. හැබැයි note එකට දාන all the things you are putting into the note or you have to take that in your mind as well at the class itself. class එකේ ඉඳලා වැඩි ඉවර වෙන්න ඕනේ. අපේ අද first part එක ඉවර වෙනකොට everything වාගේ mind එකේ. Right. done. Second point එකේ ලියන්න ළමයි මෙහෙම. Maximizing owner's wealth for sole proprietorship is the increase of the increase the value the increase the value of the business of the business of the business in brackets you say increase the market value of the business increase the market value of the business ඒ කියන්නේ business එක අර විකුණන්න පුළුවන් ගානනේ increase the market value of the business at which the business could be sold at which the business could be sold at which the business could be sold in the market close the bracket clear නේද ළමයි understood the perfect නේද done right so definition part is complete is done and you know what do you mean by the maximizing the owner's wealth this is very important ළමයා මේ maximizing owner's wealth කියන point එක again දැන් ඊළඟට මම කතා කරන topic එකේ first part එක මේක clear එකද maximizing owner's wealth maximizing honors wealth maximizing honors wealth maximizing honors wealth කියන එක ඔළුවේ තියෙන්න ඕනේ throughout the lesson we are going to discuss හරිද lesson එකේ මෙතන තමයි තියෙන්නේ ඒක මේක තමයි point එක right then have a topic ළමයි topic එකක් දාමු topic එකක් ගමු objectives of financial management objectives of financial management objectives of financial management of financial management FM මම FM කියලා use කරන්නේ හරිනේ objectives of financial management ළමයි objectives of financial management there's a one main objective එක main objective එකක් තියෙනවා there are some sub objectives as well clear the additional objectives as well clear right the main objective you know it already ඔයා දැනටමත් දන්නවා මේ main objective එක මොකක්ද කියලා බලන්න පුතා මොකක්ද මේක කියන්නේ කියලා ආයි මේ this is the how we explain the definition එකේ මොකක්ද කරන්න කියන්නේ මේ collect or the obtain the funds from appropriate sources invest on business activities effectively to do what to achieve what to achieve what to achieve to maximize the wealth of owners or the maximize owners wealth so that is the ultimate or the main goal of financial management එන financial management එකේ main objective එක there's no requirement to learn it again ආයෙ ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ නැහැ මේක තියෙන්නේ කොතනද definition එක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා the third point මේ අපි third point එක කියලා අරන් තියෙන එක clear ඔයාගේ definition එකෙත් බලන්න මේක තියෙනවා මේක තමයි ළමයි ඔයාගේ main goal එක නැත්තම් main objective එක clear ළමයි understood ඒතර මේ ආයි main objective එක study කරන්න දෙයක් නැහැ it is already something you have already learned clear ළමයි understood එහෙනම් first point එකේ ලියන්න objectives නේ අපි ලිව්වේ ළමයි මේ objectives නේ yes objectives under objectives you have to say first of all we are going to write the or take down the main objective මුලින්ම main objective එක ලියන්න okay they're fine good so we'll write topic එක I hope you have already taken down right we'll write the first point එක දාන්න මෙහෙම first point එක you have to take it like this and say the main objective slash the basic goal main objective slash basic goal of financial management is of financial management is to maximize owners' wealth. To maximize owners' wealth. To maximize owners' wealth. To maximize owners' wealth, right? Then, if it is possible to maximize owners' wealth, you can highlight. Clear, am I right? Then, from a new rule, පුතා new rule එකක ලියන්න මෙහෙම. New rule. Apart from this main objectives, apart from this main objective, apart from this main objective, following sub-objectives are also relevant. Apart from this main objective, following sub-objectives are also relevant for financial management. පුතා financial management කිය කියලා ලියලා ඉන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. You know නේ note එකක් නේ හදාගන්න ඔයාට okay වෙන FM දාගන්න. That's all right, but at the exam ඔයා financial management කියලා ලියන්න. නේ. When you are having the note එක හැබැයි you have to very clearly and attractively හදාගන්න. ලස්සනට note එක හදාගන්න, then that is really interest you to study. නේ. Right. Now main objective at the exam can be tested. What is the main objective? එහෙම අහන්න පුළුවන්. Clear? At the same time, there can be a question asking you to write the sub-objectives of financial management as well. Clear? Sub-objectives අහයි කියලා සමහරවල් නිකන් පොඩි මට නිකන් හිතෙනවා. මෙදාපාර අහයිද කියලා. ඔයාගේ exam එකේ. Clear? මේකෙන්ද පොඩ්ඩක් sub-objectives ටික දාගමු. Right. Sub-objectives. Yes, first one. Sub-objectives වල first one එක. Even you can write the number 2. මොකද අර මෙතන ලිව්වේ number 1 නම් you can write number 2, or else you can start with again number 1. That's all right. Maximizing profits. Maximizing profits. Or profit maximization. That is also fine. Huh? Maximizing profits or profit maximization. Maximizing profits or profit maximization. Even you can say profit maximization. That's also fine. Right. Next point you can take as number 3. Maximizing earnings per share. Maximizing earnings per share. We call this as EPS. ඒ කියන්නේ පුතා එක share එකකට කොච්චරක් earn කරනවද කියලා කියන point එක තමයි මෙතනදී අපි objective එකක් විතර අරන් තියෙන්නේ. Clear? Right. Fourth one, establishment of long-term financial stability. Long-term financial stability. Establishment of long-term financial stability. What does it mean? ළමයි මේක කියන්නේ දැන් මෙහෙම හිතන්නකෝ, for an example, forget about the business scenario. Business scenario එක අමතක කරන්නකෝ ළමයි පොඩ්ඩකට. When you have money, clear that? And if you have obtained these funds or money from appropriate ways, and if you have invest those funds effectively on whatever the activities you have in your life, then will that create you a stability in future? ඕනේ දැන් මෙහෙම හිතන්න බලන්න නිකන් මේක ඕක බිස්නස් එක පැත්තෙන් එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරනවට වඩා ඔයාගේ ලයිෆ් එක එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරලා දෙන එක මට ලේසි. මොකක්ද දන්නවා? දැන් ඔයා හිතන්නකෝ අද දැන් සල්ලි ගෙදරින් දෙනවා හරි ඔයා earn කරලා හරි හොයා ගන්නවා කියලා හිතන්නකෝ. මේ සල්ලි ගන්නවා ඔයා just spending again tomorrow morning you are getting somehow this money and you are spending and you don't have any thoughts how you are going to manage in future. manage කරන්න කොහොමද කියලා idea එකක් නැහැ. මෙහෙම හිතන්නකෝ මෙහෙම හිතන්නකෝ. තව එකක් කියන්න. ඔයා හිතන්නකෝ personal life එකේ ඔයාලට පඩි හම්බ වෙනවා. හරි දැන් සාමාන්‍ය අපේ in our usual life වල පඩි කතාව salary story කියන්නේ මෙහෙමනේ. Every month you are getting your salary. Clear? Let's say you are getting every 25th of the month you are getting your salary. Clear? Now if the salary is enough to manage for the month, as long as it is really sufficient for you to manage your things with this salary, what you would do is you will spend that the salary throughout the month, or just 4 weeks you have to manage. That's other salary salary you just have to manage only 4 weeks, isn't that? හරිනේ ඒක ළමයි කොහොමරි ගාන්ට manage කරගන්න තන salary එකක් තියෙනවා. By when you are reaching to the 4th week final day your salary is over, but you know next day morning you are getting a new salary. Clear? එහෙමනේ වෙන්නේ. ඒතර ඒක අරගත්තා ඊළඟ month එකේ spend කරගෙන ගියා, but you don't have any thoughts what you would do in case if you have to leave the job next month. දැන් ඔයාට ඊළඟ මාසේ පඩි හම්බෙන එක නතර වුණොත් ඔයාට තියෙන පුත option එකක් නැහැ. අන්න එතන ළමයි which means what? You have not created or established the long term financial stability එකක් ඔයා හදාගෙන නැහැ. ඔක තමයි simple meaning එක. Long term financial stability when it comes to a business it can be a complex scenario, but anyway ඔයාගේ life එකේ simple meaning එක ඕක. Yeah. Let's assume there's another man. Now man කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. Let's say there's another person. Once he gets his salary, එයා මාස salary එක හම්බුනහම always is serving or saving some kinds of or reserving some amount of money without spending and investing that in one of the effective activity. අන්න බලන්නම එයා effective activity එකක මේ invest කරනවා. Clearද? Sometimes අර කලින් එක්කෙනා වගේ මෙයාට ළමයි ගොඩක් අර month එකේ enjoy කරන්න බෑ because he is not spending his entire salary, but he will have a kind of a stability in future. අපි හිතමු හැම මාසෙම කීයක් හරි අයින් කර ඩිපොසිට් එකක් දාන්න. නැත්තම් මානේ ෂෙයා මාකට් එකේ ෂෙයාර්ස් ගන්නවා. නැත්තම් ඉඩමක් අරගෙන ඒකේ මොකක් හරි කල්ටිවේෂන් එකක් මෙයා කරනවා. ක්ලියර්ද? එහෙම කරනකොට ළමයි අර මන්ත් එකේ ලොකුවට එන්ජොයි කරන්න බැරි වුණත් after a certain period of time we will have a good financial stability in the long term. Why? ඔයාට අවුරුදු 5ක් විතර ගියාට පස්සේ ළමයි ඔයාට ජොබ් එකේ සැලරි එක එනවා. අර ඉන්වෙස්ට්මන්ට් එකේ ඔයා දාගත්ත ඉඩමේ මොකක් හරි කල්ටිවේෂන් එකෙන් also you are getting a kind of an additional income as well. Clear lamai? So that can lead to financial stability in future. Clear? So that is what you mean by financial stability. So in financial management we are also expecting to have that long-term financial stability for the businesses. Clear? අර හැමදාම එන සේල් එකෙන් මැච් එක ගහගෙන යන විදියට ඉන්න නෙමෙයි පුතා financial management කරන්නේ. ඒක ළමයි you can do in the short run, but in the long term you need to have what? Financial stability. ළමයි තව example එකක් කියන්න. In most of the Sri Lankan business, small scale businesses, they are not focusing on this financial stability. That's why when a crisis comes, a crisis එකක් මොකක් හරි most of the small scale businesses are vanished. ඉවරයිනේ. ඇයි අර පුතා දැන් අර මේ අවුල් කාලේ කියලා කියන්නේ මේ ක්‍රයිසිස් එක කියන්නේ problematic season එකනේ. ඒකේ අල්ලගෙන ඉන්න තරම් යාර ස්ටැබිලිටි එකක් නැහැ. But if you are doing financial management, then this will also be created because one of the objective of financial management is to create a long-term financial stability. Is that understood? Understood නේ ළමයි. ඔක තේරුණානේ point එක. Point එක තේරුම් අරගන්න. එතකොට very easy ආ පාඩම් කරන්න ඕනේ ඔළුවේ දාගන්න ඕමයි. මෙහෙම කරලා පුළුවන්. එතකොට මේ point එක තියෙනවානේ ටියුට් එකේ ඔක හේව ගාව මතකයි. right. final point එක ගන්නකෝ. හරිනේ මෙතන point 4 ලිව්වා 3 ලිව්වා නේද? හරි. done sub objectives තුනක් ලියමු right one more අපි තව එකක් ලියමු to maintain the liquidity 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 in an optimum to maintain the liquidity in an optimum level in an optimum level in an optimum level right now liquidity the term liquidity meaning is for an example now when we are doing the second part of this lesson මම කියන්නේ මේක පාස් වුණාකට මම බ්‍රේක් කරලා තියෙන කියලා right second part එක කරද්දී I will teach you what you mean by liquidity because there's a when we are doing this ratio calculation you have to know what you mean by liquidity clear but as of now lama liquidity means you need to have money you need to have money on your hand to carry out the businesses or to carry out the activities in the business නේ දැන් හිතන්නකෝ මේ simple ළමයි මේ liquidity කියන එකේ meaning එක තමයි ඔයාගේ අතේ සල්ලි තියෙන්න ඕනේ you need to have enough or sufficient money on your hand to do the things in your business that is the simple meaning clear එතකොට ළමයි දැන් for an example you know whenever you are running a business very simple you daily basis or monthly basis short term expenses there are you have to do ne salaries you have to pay every month electricity bills you have to pay every month water bills you have to pay every month you have to have money on your hand specifically and specially to buy the stocks for the business දැන් ඔයා දන්නවනේ business එකේ විකුණනවා බඩු ගේන්න ඕනේ නේ ඒකට ඔයාලා you need to have what money enough money so that is what you mean by liquidity so if you are doing proper financial management you will also be able to make sure you will have enough liquidity to run your business smoothly ඔන්න ඕක ඊළඟ ඔබ්ජෙක්ටිව් එක ෆයිනෑන්ෂල් මැනේජ්මන්ට් හරියට කරගත්තොත්ලා බිස්නස් එකේ ඔයාගාව බිස්නස් එකේ වැඩ ටික කරගෙන යන අවුලක් නැතුව සල්ලි තියෙන අන්න ඒ පොයින්ට් එක තමයි මේ කියන්නේ ක්ලියර්නේ ඔයාට තේරෙන විදියට if you are single or even if you are whatever what හිතන understand කරගන්න පුළුවන් විදියට මේක දාගන්න clearly now understood so the maintaining the liquidity means you have sufficient money to do your work clear so if you are doing financial management you will also be able to make sure this objective will be achieved understood තමයි එහෙනම් objective part එක okay the main objective එක ළමයි මට කියන්න what is the main objective එක maximize whose wealth owner's wealth right okay enough first point එක හරි and the other objectives also done clear that this can be a major area can be tested at the exam එක ළමයි ඔයාගේ exam එක test කරන්න පුළුවන් හොඳ area එක objectives අහන එක for the MCQs filling the blanks area එකේ හරි නැත්නම් MCQs options දෙන එකේ හරි this can be given what is the ultimate objective ළමයි පුතා ultimate objective කියලා ඇහුවත් basic goal එක කියලා ඇහුවත් main objective එක කියලා ඇහුවත් always this first one clear All others are also objectives, but those are sub-objectives. Done neither. Is that clear? So far, is that all right? Harinada, ready, Harinada? Harinada, first part, then we have already come to a certain point. Then our first part එක අපි start කරේ මම කියන්නේ areas තුනයි කියලා. areas තුනේ මේ first area එක අපි දැන් start කරේ. Yes. මේකෙත් ළමයි දැන් අපි up to certain point ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. දන්නේ නේද? Right. එහෙනම් definition okay, objectives okay, what do you mean by owner's wealth? Ekat okay, right. So we'll have the next one. One of the major area. Decisions in financial management. 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 right මේක තමයි ළමයි ඊළඟට ඔයාගේ තියෙන main area එකක් අපි මේ introduction එක අපි කරනවා decisions in financial management right look at again දැන් ළමයි you can understand why some students are saying this lesson is difficult මේ lesson එක difficult කියලා කියන්නේ එක reason එකක් මොකක්ද කියන එක දැන් ඔයාලටම understand කරගන්න පුළුවන් first thing is the definition has not been understood properly. ළමයා මේක අමාරුයි කියන්නේ මේ definition එක හරියට අල්ලගෙන නැතිකම. මේක ඇතුළේ යන මාර කතාවක් මේක හැම තැනම මේක තමයි connected. එක connect වෙන තැන් කියන්න බැරි තරම් තියෙන මේ introduction part එකේදී. මේ first part එකේ මාර විදිහට මෙයා තමයි connect. මේ definition එක. මේ 3 points. Now look at again this definition. මේ definition එකේ ආයෙ පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න නිකන් if you have since you have written in your books as well. You can read it again. ආයුණා කියවන්න තමයි දැන් අපි දීලා තියෙන definition එකක් වාට. Here we are doing two things to achieve this final objective. එක understood නේ මොනවද කරන වැඩ දෙක? Just let me know. මේක නිකන් බැලුවා දැන් ඔයා since you have understood. Now you can tell me. මොකද්ද මේක කරන්න වැඩ දෙක කියලා තේරෙනවනේ. වැඩ දෙකයි කරන්නේ. මොනවද වැඩ දෙක? One thing is you are obtaining finance in appropriate sources. Clear? Another thing is you are investing. Clear? So එකක් මොනවද ළමයි කරන්නේ ඔයා? එකක් තමයි you are doing one thing you are doing is you are obtaining funds. Obtaining. Clear? කොහෙන් හරි සල්ලි ගන්න එකනේ කරන්නේ. ඒක කරනවා. And second එක මොකක්ද ළමයි ඔයා කරන්නේ? Investing. Investing funds. Aren't these the two activities we are performing in financial management? අර definition එකේ කියන්නේ ඕක නෙවෙයිද? obtain කරගන්නවා නැත්නම් collect කරගන්නවා ඊට පස්සේ invest කරනවා. ඕක නෙමෙයි ළමයි කියන්නේ. ඒකනේ කියන්නේ. නේද? ඉතින් අර definition එකේ තියෙන කැලේ දෙක ගන්න. ඒකම තමයි පුතා decisions කියලා ඔයා ගන්නත් ඕනේ. clear? ඔය decisions කියලා ආයේ අහන part එක මේකම තමයි. clear? ඒක ඔය some books වල දීලා තියෙන විදියයි ඔය teaching guides වල දීලා තියෙන විදියත් එක්ක සමහරකට ඔයාලට ඔක understand කරගන්න බෑ. clear? That can be. But decisions are how many decisions are there? එහෙනම් මෙතන main decisions කීයක් තියෙන්නේ? Decisions there are only two decisions. One decision is decisions about obtaining funds. Now obtaining funds decision එකක් යනවා. So the first decision is all about how you are obtaining or collecting funds. Clear? The second decision is all about how you are investing funds. එහෙනම් decisions දෙක දානවා නිකම් ආයි දැන් මේක පාඩම් කරන්න ඕනද? ඔය පාඩම් කරන්න ඕන නෑ. ඔය පාඩම් නොකරේ just you can remember it. definition එකයි කියන්නේ definition එකේදී අර එක I took much time to explain you the definition. Clear? Definition එකේ ළමයි ගොඩක් areas ටික අල්ල ගන්න. objective එක තියෙනවා ඒක ඇතුලේ. මේ decisions දෙක මේක ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා. Clear? Right. Now decisions කීයද? Only two decisions. What are the two decisions? Decisions about obtaining funds and decisions about investing funds. Right. ළමයි මේ decisions about obtaining funds වලට අපි word එකක් දෙනවා. මොකක්ද මේ word එක? That is what you known as financing decisions. මේකට කියනවා පුතා financing decision එක කියලා. So different term but the same thing. අර definition එකේ තිබිච්ච එක මත obtaining funds decision තමයි, but we call when we are under the decision topic we are calling this as what? Financing decision එක කියලා කියනවා. Financing decision. Financial decision නෙවෙයි පුතා financing decision නා. Financing decision. Right. Make this is what you know as the investing funds decision. This is what you call as මේ decision එකට කියනවා investing decision එක කියලා. එහෙනම් decisions දෙක මොකක්ද? ආයෝක පාඩම් කරන්න ඕනේ. මොකක්ද decisions දෙක ළමයි? What are the two decisions? Financing decision and the investing decision. These are the two decisions taken in financial management. So financial management එකේ පුතා ගන්න decisions දෙක මොනවද කියලා exam එකේ අහනවා. What are the answers you have to give? Financing decision and the investing decisions. Financing decisions means what? Obtaining decisions relevant to obtaining funds. Investing decisions means what? Decisions relevant to investing the funds. Clearly ළම understood the right? Okay. Right. දැන් ළමයි මම ඔකට ඔය point එක දැන් හරියා. Nothing wrong with this pointer. Now what you have understood is the correct. Clear. Done. හැබැයි ළමයි මම මෙතනදී definition එක දැන් දෙන්න යන්නේ. but definition එක වෙන්නේ I am going to give you the definition. I am going to give the definition in a way that you should write at the exam. So මම ඔයාලට definition එක දෙන්න යන්නේ පුතා මේ දෙකේ. දැන් meaning එක හරිනේ. meaning එක දැන් ඔයාගේ යාළුවා හැවුවොත් ඔයාලට explain කරන්න බැරිද? පුළුවන්. නේ definition එකේ නෙමෙයි explain කරන්නේ. definitions වලින් explain කරනවා කියලා කියනවා you have not understood. නේ කවුරු ආවම හොගාල definition එක කියන එක වැඩක් නෑ ළමයි. ඔයාලට දැන් ඇහුවොත් මේක කියන්න පුළුවන්. right. හැබැයි පුතා definition is the requirement you have to fulfill at the exam. You have to give this definitions at the exam. When I am giving the definition, I am giving the definition in a different manner, but the meaning is the same. Clear? Right. එහෙනම් මුලින්ම have the topic decisions in financial management. I hope you got right. First one අපි ලියමු. First one ලියමු. Decisions are the financing decision. First one පුතා ලියන financing decisions. Financing decisions. Financing decisions. Right. Okay. Right. Then definition එක ලියන්න යන්නේ. I will explain the definition later. මම ඊළඟට definition එක explain කරන්න. Decisions regarding. So we are explaining financing decisions. Decisions regarding how to obtain funds. How to obtain funds. How to obtain funds. How to obtain funds. For investing, how to obtain funds for investing on non-current assets. Non-current assets. Non-current assets. non-current asset. And non-current asset කියලා ලියලා you take it as මෙන්න මෙතන bracket එක ඇතුලේ ලියන්න ඕනේ fixed assets. I am writing these terms in the board for the help of the student who are not doing accounting. Accounting කරලා නැති ළමයිට මොකද මේවා අලුත් terms වෙන්න පුළුවන්, but majority of the students in my class are doing accounting except very few. හරිනේ. But I am writing for them, right? Investing on non-current assets, in brackets you say fixed assets, close the brackets, and current assets and current assets. And current assets. අපි ලිව්වේ කොහමද ළමයි? මම ආයි චුට්ටක් කියන්නම් ඕනනම්. මේ meaning එක පොඩ්ඩක් වෙනස් වෙයි ළමයි second time කියනකොට මොකද මම I am just thinking and saying you නේ. Decisions regarding how to obtain funds. Decisions regarding how to obtain funds for investing. Yes, for investing non-current assets, in brackets you say fixed assets, and current assets. Current assets are known as financing decisions. Are known as financing decisions. Right. Bracket එක දැන් මේක පුතා ලියලා ඉවරලා under that definition you just open the bracket. I will give you the simple meaning. මේකේ ඔය current assets non-current assets කියන එකේ meaning එක why we are giving that ඇයි මෙහෙම මම දුන්නේ කියන එක මම explanation එකක් ඔයාලට දැන් දෙන්න. හැබැයි ළමයි අපේ simple meaning එක මොකද්ද? Decisions about obtaining funds is what you call as financing decisions. එහෙනම් bracket එක ඇතුලේ ලියන simple meaning එක ලියන්න. Decisions about obtaining funds. But ඒක පුතා exam එකේ ලියන්න එපා. exam එකේ ඔයා ලියන්න ඕන proper definition එක. Understood නේද? Decisions about obtaining finance. මෙහෙම ලියුවේ මේ obtaining funds. Sorry. Decisions about obtaining funds. That is a simple meaning. ඒක ඔයාලට simply මතක තියාගන්න එහෙම. හැබැයි original definition එක අරක. Right. Second point එක ලියන්නකො. I will explain. මම අර point එක explain කරනවා ඔයාලට. ඇයි එහෙම කරේ කියලා. ඒවා ඕනේ you have to know finance management යද්දී ඔයා ඒ ටික දැනගෙන යන්න ඕනේ. නැත්තම් ඔයා in the middle you will get stuck, especially when we are learning ratios. So ratios part එක ඉගෙන ගන්නකොට ඔයා පොඩ්ඩක් upset වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right. Second point එක ලියන්න ළමයි second decision එක investing decisions. Investing decisions. අපි ලියමු definition එක. Decisions made regarding even you can say decisions make කියන්න පුළුවන්, made කියන්න පුළුවන්. Regarding the investments of funds. Decisions made regarding investment of funds on non-current assets and current assets. On non-current assets and current assets. Is known as investment decisions. is known as investment decisions. Is known as investment decisions. All right, ළමයි. මේක අහන්නකො මේ what do you mean by this invest on current asset, non-current asset story එක? මේක අහන්න carefully අහන්න. That's why I told you this lesson is always connects with accounting. ළමයි accounting එක මේක connect වෙනවා කියන එකේ reason එක මේකයි. Right. Now you know the accounting formula, equity plus liability equals assets. Equals assets. Color එක පොඩ්ඩක් change උනේ ඇයිද? අපෝ දැන් හදමු. Assets. So this is the basic accounting formula. Okay, පුතා accounting formula එක. Right, look at this one carefully. තමයි මම ඕක current asset non current asset කියලා story එක මොකක්ද කිව්වේ කියන එක මේකෙන් කියන්නේ. Now you know this side to the equal sign. Equal sign එකේ මේ පැත්ත. Yes, always shown what? Always shown what? This is how you have obtained the funds. දැන් සල්ලි හම්බුනේ කොහොමද කියලා නෙමෙයිද ළමයි මේ පැත්තේ පෙන්නන්නේ. Sometimes the way you have received funds could be from your owner. That is what you represent from equity. Sometimes it could be from any other external parties other than the owners. That is what you represent by liability. So this side always shows how you obtain finance. අර සල්ලි ආවේ කොහොමද කියලා මේ පැත්තේ පෙන්නන. අයිතිකාරයා දුන්නද external party එකක් දුන්නද කියන එක නේදලා මේක පෙන්නන්නේ simple මම ඔක කිව්වම මම ඔය සැරෙන්තරේ තමයි I am explaining in single as well because for the understanding of the other students as well. Clear? ඒ පැත්ත නේදලා ඔක පෙන්නන්නේ. එහෙම නේද? Yes. This side shows what? This side shows what? This side shows how it has been invested. මේක ළමයි invest උනේ කොහොමද කියන එක නේද පෙන්නන්නේ. How it has been invested. Isn't that? එහෙම නේද පෙන්නන්නේ. Yes. මේ බලන්න මේ මහන්නේ. Owner gave 100. External parties gave 50. Now how much you have obtained altogether? 150. Clear? ඉතින් මේ 150 ළමයි how it has been invested. Anyway, it has been invested in the business itself. That is all right. ඒක business එකේ තමයි ළමයි invest වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ඒක හරි. But how it has been invested? Let's say you have bought stocks worth 25. You have bought a motor vehicle for another 25. Clear? You have bought a building for another 50. Clear? Still you have some cash on your hand, another 50. This is how 150 money you have obtained has been invested. දැන් ළමයි පොයින්ට් එක තේරුණාද? ඒක පොයින්ට් එක තේරුණාද? හරි. හරිනේ. මේ හම්බෙච්ච 150 ළමයි කොහොමද ඉන්වෙස්ට් උනේ? මෙතන 50, මෙතන 50, මෙතන 50. 150 හරිනේ. 150 ඕකේනේ. How it has been invested. ළමයි මේ බලන්න. Once you receive money or once you receive funds, you are always invest on what? Assets. You know there are two kinds of assets. ළමයි accounting වලත් ඔය ඉගෙනගෙන තියෙනවා. There are two kinds of assets. What are the two kinds of assets? Current assets and non-current assets. දැන් මෙතන බලන්න පුතා මේක මොන asset එකක්ද? Current asset එකක්. මේක මොන asset එකක්ද? මේක non-current asset එකක්. building එක මොකක්ද ළමයි non current asset එකක්. මේක ආයේ මොකක්ද current asset එකක්. So එතකොට ඔයා funds you are obtaining funds for what? To invest on current and non-current assets. Clear? So ඔයා හැමතිස්සෙම සල්ලි ගන්න මොනවද? obtain කරන්නේ මොනවද? Current assets වල non-current assets වල invest කරන්න. Clear? So you are obtaining funds. You are making some decisions about obtaining funds. Decisions about obtaining funds to invest on what assets? Current and non-current assets. That is what you mean by financing. Financing decisions කියලා කිව්වේ ඒකයි. Is that understood? ඒක understood නේද? Again, on the other side, investing assets. Once we collect this money or once we obtain this money, funds, we have to decide whether we are going to buy stocks, motor vehicle, building, cash, or furniture. So we have to decide whether we are going to invest on stocks. දැන් සමහර වෙලාවට පුතා අපි bank loan එකක් ගන්න stocks ගන්න නෙවෙයි building එකක් හදන්න. සම්පූර්ණ entire funds will be used for constructing a building. Clear? So the way we have obtained through the bank loan and decision about how we are going to invest that is we are going to invest on building. සමහර වෙලාවට ඔය සමහර මේ businesses වලට දෙනවා starting එකේදීම loan එකක්. ඒ loan එක දෙන්නේ not for doing anything but to purchase the stocks requirements. Stocks ටික ගන්න. බඩු ටික ගන්න විකුණන්න ඕන බඩු ටික ගන්න දෙන්නේ. එතකොට පුතා invest කරන්නේ මොකේද? Stocks වල. So this is the investment decision you are making once you obtain the funds. Clear? So that is why I gave the definition as decisions about investing funds on current and non-current assets. එතකොට මෙතනින් කරන්නේ obtaining decisions නැත්නම් financing decision එකේදී කරන්නේ we are deciding how to obtain finance to invest on non-current and non-current assets, and the investment decision එකේදී මොකද කරන්නේ we are deciding once the finance or the funds received we are deciding how we are going to invest them on our current and non-current assets, whether we are going to invest on current assets, whether we are going to invest on non-current assets, or we are going to invest as a mix. දැන් තේරුණාද කතාව? උත්තර. Clearද? ස්ටෝරි එක හරියට එන decisions කතාව ඉවරයි ළමයි මෙතනින්. Decisions දෙක මොනවද කියන්නකෝ මට? Decisions දෙකයි තියෙන්නේ. ඕක main point එකක් නෑ finance management වල introduction part එකේ අපි කරන. objective එක main point එකක්, definition එක main point එකක්, මේක main point එකක්. හරිද? මේක තමයි exams වල අහන්නේ initial questions වගේ එන්නේ මේ part වලින් තමයි. Clearද? Done නේද? So how many decisions are there? දෙකයි තියෙනවා. මොනවද දෙක? Finance decision and the investing decisions. Done. Okay, right. Then we are going to make a classification of decisions as well. පුතා මේ decisions classify කරන්න පුළුවන්. So එහෙනම් let's have a topic classification of financial decisions. Classifications of financial decisions. Classification of financial decisions. Classification of financial decisions. Right. The financial decisions තියෙන්නේ පුතා මෙතන. මේක classify කරන්න යන්නේ. හරි. Classification. Right. Mainly ළමයි එතකොට අපේ mainly how many types of decisions are there? We know there are two kinds of decisions are there. Right. Decisions, what are the two kinds of decisions we have? What are the two kinds of decisions we have? Yes. Right. What are the two kinds of decisions we have? Right. Decisions දෙක කියන්න ලාගාද? Decisions දෙක මොනවා decisions දෙක? Financing decisions and decisions and investing decisions. Investing decision or the investment decision both are correct. So these are the two main kinds of financial decisions. මේක දැන් දන්නවනේ. මේක classify කරන්න පුළුවන්. Here you can classify this. Financial decisions or the financing decisions can be classified into short-term, and long-term. Clear? Again, investing decisions can also be classified as short-term and long-term. Clear? So mainly what I want you to tell is there are two kinds of financial decisions. You know it already: financing decisions and investing decisions. Financing decisions can be classified as what and what? Short-term decisions and the long-term decisions. Investing decisions can be classified as short-term decisions and the long-term decisions. Clear? Right. So to make classification, chart I will show you. I have shared that in your groups as well. Group if not, I will send it again. Yes, this one. Clear? I hope you can see. So it's almost the same, but it gives you the some other classifications as well. Here to make classifications. Here this chart. This is the typically what it has been given in your syllabus as well. Syllabus nothing different. So investment decisions are there, financing decisions are there. Clear? Investment decisions can be classified into what and what? Yes. Investment decisions can be classified into what? Long-term decisions and the short-term decisions. Long-term decisions can be what do you mean as investment decisions? So you can examples have been given here. මේ examples ටික දීලා තියෙනවා. ඔයාලට මේ group එකේ ළමයි මේක මම එවනවා. chart එක දාලා ඇති. So you can refer them. So ඒකම බලලා තමයි ඔයා note එකට ගන්න ඕනේ. No need to take it now. So මේ දැන් එක අඳ ගන්න ඕනේ. This is how. Right. මම මේක explain කරනවා ළමයි එයා ගන්න. Clear? Investment decision is what you mean by how you are going to invest these funds. Clear? There may be long-term decisions and the short-term decisions. Clear? Short-term decisions means ළමයි දැන් මෙතනදී මේ point එක මෙන්න මෙතන මේ තියෙන්නේ කතාව මේකයි. Now you know we are investing the funds in assets. That is what we learned. Arma explain correct. Yes, we are investing the funds on assets. Clear? Right. When we are investing the funds on assets, we have two assets to invest. What they are? Current assets and the non-current assets. Non-current assets are what you call as the long term. Then accounting non-current assets are assets which will not be changed frequently. asset. Long-term benefit generate long-term economic benefit generate Clear? Economic benefit long-term. All assets generate the economic benefits. But anyway, non-current assets will create you long-term. So when you are investing on those kinds of assets, those are what you call as long-term decisions. Clear way one by one. Decisions relevant to business modernization. The business is modern karna. So you have to invest on some kinds of new, sometimes you may have to add a new part to your business. clear සමහරකට පුතා දැන් මේ modern business එක modernize කරනවා. Let's say you have to still you are just uh, invoicing just making the invoicing manual invoice තියෙන්නේ. So you are installing a system. Clear ගන්න modernize කරනවා. So as still you are just in business එකේ තියෙන fan දාලා කට්ටි ඉන්නේ වෙදස්ලා වගේ දාඩිය දාන මාරු විදියට ඒ වගේ ඉන්න බෑ කියලා මොකද කරන්නේ ඔක්කොම air condition කරනවා. අර modernizing වලට ඔන්න පොඩි examples ටිකක් clear. So aren't they long term? Under long term. Clear. Then decisions relevant to the replacement. Sometimes you may have to replace the things. මේ business එක replace කරන්න වෙන්නේ නැද්ද තමයි අලුත් ඒවා නේ. You are disposing all your old furniture and the computer equipments and replacing them with the new technological or the advanced technological things. අලුත් ඒවා දාන්නේ. අර පරණ කබල් computers physical අලුත් ඒවා ගන්න. Replace it. So aren't they long term? Will they give you a long term benefit? Yes. Decisions related to promoting the business. Sometimes lamai business එක promote කරන්න. Sometimes you may have to invest on that as well. ඒ වගේ ඒවාට invest කරනවානේ. දැන් long term promotion campaigns කියලා જાතියක් තියෙනවා. ඒවයි benefit එක පුතා once you make the expense it is not just for 1 or 2 months or even not just for one accounting period. It will give you a certain long period of time. Clear? So that kind of things can. Anyway, decisions relevant to the business diversifications. Business එක diverse කරනවා. What do you mean? What do you mean by business diversification? Yes, what do you mean? Diversification. For an example, let's say you just selling only the clothes now. Then clothes just selling. But you are going to have a restaurant as well. Inside the same business, you are going to have a restaurant as one kind of a diversification. Clear? Or just you are having a, let's say you just have, now in addition to these examples, you can say, now you have just 2 branches. Now you are going to expand the count of branches all around the country up to 10. That is a long-term decision. Clear long-term decisions can be. So you are investing for things which will generate you long-term benefits. Those benefits not only for the 1 year, not only for one just accounting period. It will give you more accounting periods. And I have a long-term side. Understood? Make definitions definitions but have to know how to differentiate these long-term investment decisions and the short-term decisions. Short-term can short-term saving. Those are the short, you are investing on assets. That's all right. Investments කොහොමද assets වල දානවා තමයි. සල්ලි asset එකේ දාන එක තමයි. Investing on assets. But those assets will generate you a short-term economic benefits. එතනදී පුතා short-term benefit එකක් දෙන්නේ. For an example, when you are keep kind of cash for your business activities, that's it. When you are selling goods on credit basis, you will create what? Debtors. Understood? So the debtors will, they are also one of your assets. Debtors can be assets. Clear? Long term benefits. It will just give you only 3 months. Yes, 3 months only cash collect. That's all right. Decisions relevant to the trading stocks. Stocks. When you are buying the stocks, yes, that is one way you can invest your funds on stocks as well. But are the stocks give you long-term benefits? No, it will give you a short-term. Other related issues to short-term investment. Clear now? So investment part or the investment decisions can be long-term, short-term. So examples have been given here. Shall we move to this part? Financing decisions? Yes. There are financing decisions when it comes to financing decisions. Financing decisions. Long-term and the short-term. Again, long-term and short-term. Short-term decisions means kind of the ways you can collect money. Then financing decisions can obtaining funds. Clear? So there are certain short-term ways you can collect, which means what? You have to settle those funds within a short period of time. And for an example, maybe in the business, you are just buying some stocks on credit basis. Stocks credit basis buy karna. Can you drag this credit for 10 years? Then make them out the hack given to credit without settling this settlement, without making the settlement. Can you drag this for 10 years? No, you just have to settle this credit or the credit on purchase values within maximum 3 months. So that is a short term financing. Clear? You know the draft, bank draft. We have learned what you mean by bank draft when we are doing the 7th lesson, money and financial institutes. I taught you what do you mean by bank draft. If not, you know what you mean by bank draft. When you are doing accounting, accounting when you are doing the bank reconciliation, you got to know what you mean by bank draft. Bank draft there are two kinds of bank draft: permanent bank draft and the temporary bank draft. We have learned them, and whatever the bank draft, usually it is for a short period of time. Clear? So you can get, if you want some funds, obtaining funds through your draft as well. Bank drafting right? Okay. Decisions that are related to accrued expenses. Accrued expenses also kind of a way you can get the funds. Clear? So if you, let's say, you may ask, so how we can get or obtain funds from accrued expenses? Let's say you have 100 rupees now. You have 100 rupees now. Now, today you have to pay the salaries as well. For that, you may require 75 rupees. Clear? Adatiyana puta 100 on your hand. But today you have to pay the salaries as well in your business, which is 75 rupees. But at the same time, you have received your electricity bill. 90 rupees. 90 electricity bill we have to settle that too as well. But you know, you can delay what? Electricity bill tomorrow sale once you done to the next day sale, hit a sale settle what electricity bill next day postpone karan. That is what you call as accrued under pastor. But you can't postpone salaries. Salaries you have to pay. So what you are doing, how you are financing? Now do you have finance or enough finance for both? දෙකටම තියෙනවා. අරක 75 මේකේ 90යි තියෙන්නේ කියලා 100යි. Clear? 75 ගෙවන්න ඕනේ salary, 90 ගෙවන්න ඕනේ electricity, but you have only 100. How you can finance? වාට finance කරන්න කොහොමද? එකක් accrue කරනවා. Clear? By doing that you can find the finance. Understood? හොයාගත්තද? Clear? So that is the one way you can do. That is also short term financing methods. එකක් පොඩ්ඩක් පාරක්කු කරනවා. Clear? Right, done. Long-term financial decisions, you can divide this. Look at this one. Long-term financial decisions, you can divide it into two parts. Decisions related to capital structure, the capital decision. Decisions relevant to the dividends. Now look at this one. Now you know, throughout this lesson, financial management situations explain relevant to incorporated companies. Clear? A point clear? All the matters we are discussing in financial management are related to incorporated companies, and we are not going to discuss anything relevant to sole proprietorships or the partnership or whatever other businesses. Clear? Examples relate incorporated companies. Done. Incorporated companies, if you want to have finance, the one way you can get the financing or the obtain finance is issuing what? Shares issue. I told you. In business business organizations, we have learned they are the companies can issue shares. Clear? So they can initially, when they are issuing, that is what you call initial public offer, and secondly and thirdly they can issue shares as well. That is what you call as seasonal public offer. So by doing so, they can obtain funds. So that is what you mean by decisions related to obtaining long-term capital, related to collecting equity capital. So that is what you mean by issuing shares, right? Decisions related to ratios of loan and the equity capital. This is what you call as point. This is what you call as leverage. Leverage, or this is what you call as leverage ratios. But you don't worry regarding that because you are learning them. Leverage are the gearings. මෙතන gearing එක කියලා අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඔකට කියන්නේ gearing ratio එකක් මෙතන calculate කරනවා කියලා. But that part will be covered when we are doing the ratio analysis. For as of now, you can keep this like this, right? Okay, the fine. Then look at this one. Decisions related to the dividends. Yes. Decisions related to retaining profits. Decisions related to allotment of dividends. Yes. Sometimes you know in incorporated companies, I have taught you business organization company part once the incorporated company earns the annual profit, once they have earned the annual profit, you know the entire profit will not be divided or distributed to the shareholders. Then company earn mulu profit dividends. As dividends, are they going to distribute among the shareholders? No, they will keep some amount. Let's say they have earned 100 as the profit. Let's say they are just want to distribute only 25 as dividends. Dividends shareholder then 25. The balance amount, they will keep this inside the company itself. Company that will not be distributed for the shareholders. So these are what you call as retained profits or retained earnings. You can see retained earnings or retained profits. Clear? Actually, this 75 belongs to whom? 75. It also belongs to the shareholders or the owners. But we are keeping them without distributing to the shareholders. So this can also be one way we can use for financing. So financing කරගන්න ඕක පාවිච්චි කරන ප්‍රසල්ලි හොයාගන්න නම් ඕකත් ක්‍රමයක්. නේ? Can't you understand? ඒක තේරෙනවද පුතා? ඒ කියන්නේ අර අපි earn කරපු profit එකෙන් shareholder දෙන්නේ නැතුව කොටසක් අපි ළඟ තියාගන්න, company එක තියාගන්න. So the company can enjoy this as a financing source and invest this 75. What they are doing? Are they just keeping this in the drawers? No. What they are doing? 75. They will invest. They will invest in different projects. Understood? So that is what you know as under retained earnings. Clear? So this can also be used as one of the way of financing, but it is always long term. Make a long term and clearly right. At the same time, the allotment of dividends. So okay, just have the understanding, because since I cannot just give you this chart and leave, that is not appropriate. So I will explain clearer. But main thing what I wanted you to explain, financial management decisions, there are two decisions. What they are: financing decisions and the investment decisions. Both of them can be divided as long term and short term. Clear? No need to make unknown make it a product space in your notes. Make a note this part. So you can leave some space for that has been shared in your groups, and you can draw this leisurely. Clear the point. Main point financial decisions types they can understand. Done. So that is also clear. Financial decisions in the part we have already completed. Clear right? Okay. Right. Then approach to explain you the next step which is a kind of thing students cannot understand the connectivity. Right. Look at this. Right. Now look at the board again. මේක පොඩ්ඩක් බලා ගන්න ඕන ළමයි. I am going to tell you a small story. මේ ස්ටෝරි එක ළමයි ඔයා ඒ විදිහටම අල්ලගත්තොත් that is really easy you to understand the other concepts what we are going to talk next. Clear the right. Now we know we are making two decisions in financial management. Financial management එකේ පුතා how many decisions we are making? Two decisions. What those two decisions are? I mean, so far what we have discussed, I think you have got into your mind and no need to study. I පාඩම් කරන දෙයක් නෑ ළමයි දැන් මෙච්චර කතා කරන හොඳටම ආයේ explanations හරිනේ. ආයි නිකන් අර එලකිරි වගේ එන්න මේ තියනවානේ. Clear? Right. එතකොට ඒක තමයි ඕනේ. Right. Okay. In financial management, ළමයි how many decisions we are making? Two decisions. What those two decisions are? What those two decisions are? Financing decision. Financing decision and the investing decision. Is that understood? More than the right. Now, what's our ultimate goal of financial management? These are the two decisions made in financial management. That is all right. What is the ultimate goal or the final objective or even main goal or main objective, basic objective? What is that? That is what we learned as the first thing in our lesson. To maximize what? To maximize owner's wealth. Then we are done now. Now you know these things, huh? Clearly. Right. Now, I am going to tell you that if we perform these two decisions perfectly, correctly, or optimally, perfectly, or if you are performing these two decisions perfectly, if you are performing these two decisions perfectly, then and correctly, perfectly and correctly, doing them correctly or perfectly. Doing these two things or making these two decisions correctly and perfectly makes sure we are achieving this final objective. හරිනේ දැන් උන connection එකක් හදලා පෙන්නනවා. Clearද? දැන් connection එකක් හදලා පෙන්නනවා. Is that correct? Clearද? Financial management, our ultimate objective is this. Clearද? Right. In financial management also we have to make two decisions. So if we do these two decisions perfectly correctly, definitely it will make sure we are achieving our final objective. ඒකම තමයි the same thing that was explained in our definition as මේ definition එකේ කිව්වෙත් ඒකම තමයි නේද ළමයි. ඉතින් මේ obtaining funds කියන එකනේ පුතා financing decision කිව්වේ. මේකටනේ investment decision කියලා කිව්වේ. So if we do we are doing these two to achieve what? Yes. Final objective, which is what you call as maximizing owner's wealth. So that is I am again showing you එතකොට මම ආයි මෙතන පෙන්නන්නේ ඒකම තමයි. Clear? That is the same thing I'm showing you here. If you do or if you make these two decisions correctly and perfectly, definitely we can make sure we are achieving the final objective. Is that understood? ඒක හරිනේ ළමයි. Nothing something new නේ. ඒක අලුත් දෙයක් නෙවෙයිනේ. Yes. Now, yes, to perfectly, if you want to do these two things perfectly, there are two things you have to do. Then make the karan. If you want to do these two things perfectly, there are two things you have to perform. What is that? That is what you call financial planning and financial controlling. දැන් තමයි ඔන්න අලුත් concept එකක් අල්ලගත්තා. Clearද මේ ඔක්කොම පරණ ඒවා. Clearද මේ blue color වලින් ලියපු එක තමයි අලුත් එක. Right. Now financial decisions, we have to make financing decisions and the investment decisions. If we do that perfectly, we will be able to achieve our final objective. That is what you call the maximizing owner's wealth, right? If you want to perform these two things correctly and perfectly, there are two things you have to do. What those two things are? You have to do financial planning and financial control. Clear? Clearly, I understood that. Right. To do financial controlling and financial planning, you want to get the help of two tools. තමයි මේක කරන්න නම් මේ දෙන්න ඕනේ. මේක කරන්න මේ දෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒකනේ කියන්නේ. Right. මේ දෙන්න කරන්න ළමයි we want to have two tools. What those two tools are? මේකේ tools දෙකක් ඕනේ. මොනවද two tools දෙක? What are the මොකද two tools දෙක නෙවෙයි. What are the two tools we want to consume or we have to get the help? Budgeting. Budgeting and budgeting and cash flow. Cash flow. So we have to get the help of cash flows and budgetings if we want to do financial planning and financial controlling. If we do financial planning and financial controlling, we will be able to do that means ඒකේ meaning එක තමයි මේ දෙක කරනවා කියන්නේ පුතා මොකද්ද meaning එක මෙන්න මේ දෙන්න හරියට කරනවා කියන එක. Clear? Which means what we are achieving finally? Maximizing owner's wealth. Clear ළමයි that understand ඔන්න relationship එකෙන් තමයි ළමයි මෙන්න මෙතන parts දෙක ගන්න. Otherwise students will think where or how we are getting these topics. So if you are reading the financial management lesson, the books or whatever that has been published, they are straight away coming to budgeting and the cash flows topics. So students we may not be able to understand how they got this topic suddenly. එක පාට ආවේ කොහෙන්ද කියලා අල්ලගන්න බෑ. අන්න එතකොට තමයි ළමයි that is the reason students are complaining we can't find the connectivity of these concepts. ඔන්න ඔය problem එක ළමයි it is one of the complaint always students are giving regarding this subject. This lesson. මේ lesson එකේ ළමයි කියන කතාව. අර connection එක අල්ලගන්න බෑ. එකක් තමයි ළමයි ඔය connection එක හදලා පෙන්නන්න ඕනේ මේ වගේ අපි. Clear? Other thing is we have to do the definition perfectly. ළම definition එක කියලා දෙන්න ඕනේ. Then you will find the connectivity. Clear ළම දැන් මේ connectivity කාව හැටි තේරුණාද? ආයි කියන්නද මේ අහන්න? I will tell it again. In finance management how many decisions we are taking? Two decisions. What those two decisions are? මම ටිකක් speed කියනවා. A financing decision and the investing decisions, right? If we do those two decisions perfectly and if we perform them well, then we will be able to achieve our ultimate objective. That is what you know as maximizing owner's wealth. You are doing these two decisions perfectly means you have to do you have to do two things again. What those two things are? Financial planning and financial controlling. to do financial planning and to do financial controlling, you need to get the support of two things. What those two things are? Two tools tools those are tools. We have to get the support of two tools. What those two tools are? Budgeting and cash flows. Understood? Understood? Is that understood, right? Point thereafter we are discussing cash flows and the budgeting part. Clear, right? Or you can leave some space to draw that flow chart or flow chart. You can leave some space, so you can do it leisurely, and we will have this point. Make a point. You can start as a new paragraph. Right? Start will as a new paragraph. Paragraph right. Start with a new paragraph. Right. Start with a new paragraph. Making financing decisions and investing decisions. Then make explain paragraph. The graphical presentation make right. Making financing and investing decisions in an optimum manner. In an optimum manner. In an optimum manner. Again, perfectly කරනවා කියන එක තමයි. In an optimum manner. In an optimum manner. Help to achieve, help to achieve, help to achieve the main objective of financial management. Help to achieve main objective of financial management. Should I tell it again? Making financing and investment or investing decisions in an optimum manner help to achieve the main objective of financial management, which is maximizing owner's wealth. Maximizing owner's wealth. Maximizing owner's wealth. Maximizing owner's wealth. Right. Starting from a new line. Starting from a new line. Financial planning and financial controlling. Financial planning and financial controlling are required. Financial planning and financial controlling are required Financial planning and financial controlling are required to make to make to make to make financing and investing decisions to make financing and investing decisions in an optimum manner. 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 Right. Starting from a new line. I new line start කරන්න budgeting and cash flow. Budgeting and cash flow are the two instruments. Are the two instruments. Tools. Tools. Instrument tools are the two instruments. In the brackets you say tools. Close the brackets. Budgeting and cash flows are instrument. Are the two instrument are the two instrument are just instruments we are using when doing financial planning and controlling. When doing financial planning and controlling. When doing financial planning and controlling. හරිනේ දැන් relationship එක තේරුණා නේද? Is that understood? දැන් කොහොමද මේ budgeting කියන එකක් මෙතනට කඩාගෙන වැටුනේ කියන එකයි cash flow එකක් කොහොමද ආවේ කියන එකයි understood නේද? Clear නේද ළමයි? Right. Okay. Fine. එතකොට simple meaning එක ළමයි මේක කිව්වේ මෙහෙමයි. Budgeting, cash flows are there. Yes. Those two are required to perform financial planning and financial controlling. Once you performing financial planning and financial controlling, which means you are doing you are making these two decisions in optimum manner, thereby you will be able to achieve this final objective. Clear? එහෙනම් topic එකක් දැන් ළමයි what we are going to discuss එහෙනම් මෙතන discuss කරන්නේ මොනවද? First of all, we are going to discuss what you mean by budgeting and thereafter cash flows. So with that we can finish it off. Right. Okay then right. And අපි ගමු first one topic එක clear නේද පුතා? මොකද්ද? Budgeting. 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 You can put number 1 here. Then number 1 කියලා දාගත්තොත් okay. Number 1 and say budgeting. Budgeting. Right, okay. Now when it's come to budgeting, lamai, there are two kinds of budgets. There are two kinds of budgets. Clear? The first one is cash budget. The first one is cash budget. Cash budget. Or just you can say cash budget. The second one is capital. Capital budget. So what do you mean by cash budget and capital budget? Lamai, look at this one. Mean make a podda kai understand karega. Look at this one carefully. Financial planning and financial controlling. Now you have already learned what you mean by planning when we are discussing. The first lesson of your grade 13, which is what you known as business management. Business management එක ළමයි අපි කතා කරා. We have already discussed what do you mean by planning. Wherever you see this term planning, the planning term always focuses on future. Planning කියන word එක ගන්න හැමතිස්සෙම මොන word එකක්ද? Future පැත්ත යන එක. It is always talking about future. Clear? So this planning part always relevant to this budgeting. The planning part එකට තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට තමයි budgeting එක related වෙන්නේ. Which means what? Budgeting is always a kind of an activity we are doing presently by looking at future. So makeup puta future oriented, future forecasting. Clear? Why? This is kind of a way we are doing financial planning, budgeting. So මෙන්න මේ controlling side එකට පුතා ගොඩක් relate වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ cash flow කියන එක තමයි related. Clear? ඒකයි අර කිව්වේ. When we are doing financial planning and controlling, we want budgeting and for cash flows. Actually, for financial planning, we want budgeting. Controlling, we want cash flow වගේ meaning එකක් තමයි උතන තියෙන්නේ. Clearly understood, right? So you can understand now budgets are always something we are doing for what? Future. Make a future, which means what? Is something relevant to planning. Clear? Cash budget pulling කරන්න පුතා. Cash budget wali we are doing what do you mean by cash budget or what we are doing in cash budget? For a specific future period, we are going to estimate our cash receipts and cash payments. In other words, you can say cash receipts means cash inflows and cash payments means cash outflows. So which means what? Budgeting, cash budgeting means we are going to decide, or cash budgeting means we are going to decide for a certain future period of time, what are our cash inflows, estimated cash inflows. Because why we are saying estimated? Because this is something which has not taken place yet. මේ තාම වෙලා තියෙන වැඩක්ද නැත්නම් ඉස්සරහට වෙන්න යන වැඩක්ද? මේක තාම වෙලා නැහැ. වෙන්න යයි කියලා හිතන එකක් මේ කරන්නේ. Clear? That is what you call budgeting. So we are estimating, or we are just preparing a document including estimated cash inflows and estimated cash outflows that can happen for a future period of time. That is what you mean by අන්න cash budget එකක් කියන්නේ ඒකයි. Clear? What would be our cash inflows and cash outflows for a specific future period of time? Clear? Okay, definition ටික දාගත්තා නම් ඇති. Right. එහෙනම් අපි ලියමු cash budgets. First one, cash budget. You better make it as 1.1. So if you want පුතා sorry. ඕන අපි දාමු. There are two kinds of budgets. Just write after the budgeting. You just write there are two kinds of budgets. Then you take 1.1 cash budgets. Right, we'll write, I will move. A document prepared including expected money receipts and expected money receipts and cash receipts කියන්න පුළුවන් පුතා. Expected money receipts and expected money payments or cash payments. Money payments for a certain future period. For a certain future period. Now I underline the word certain future period because that is really important. We are preparing this for a certain future period. Clearly the right, okay. Right. Now, cash budget always includes what and what? Cash receipts and cash payments. But always they are what? Expected. Expected cash receipts and expected cash payments. Expected cash receipts and expected cash payments. Clear? Right. Examples tika clear muda. Examples tika clear. Shall we write some examples? Right. Examples tika clear. What are the examples? Yes. Expected cash receipts or more examples. Yes. Cash receipts in koi පැත්තෙන්ද? Yes. Cash sales. So here you can say cash sales. Examples. Cash sales. Cash sales. Cash sales. Then what else? What are the other ways you are receiving cash? Receipts from debtors. Receipts from debtors or debtor receipts. Either way you can write. Or is sale of non-current assets. Then sometimes when we are disposing the assets, we are selling those assets. We are selling those assets. Clear? So that is also a way we are receiving cash. Clear? So let's say in future, next month, let's say we are expecting to dispose our old or the outdated computers. So that could be a cash receipt for us. And the cash receipt take. So that can also be taken as cash receipts. Clear? So the examples for the cash receipts are right. Expected cash payments, what would happen? My examples say what? Make my examples leave. For the examples, expected cash payments, what? Yes. When you are purchasing the stocks or when you are doing purchasing, purchasing skill accounting. When you are doing purchasing on cash basis, purchase. Cash basis purchasing. So that is one way you have to incur your cash. Sally given in a situation. Right. Salaries when you are paying salaries or when you are paying any other kinds of expenses. Those things can be cash payments, or else sometimes it can be purchase of non-current assets. When you are doing, most of the students doing accounting, you know better than me නේ මෙයාට ඔයා දන්නවා cash payments මොනවද cash receipts වෙන්නේ මොනවද කියන එක නේ. So those things can be written. Clear then? Done. Right, okay there, right, okay. මෙන්න මේක දැන් theory එකේ පොඩි part එකක් තියෙනවා, you have to understand. Right, cash budgeting වල before we move to capital budgeting යන්න කලින් you have to know a part of a theory. මෙන්න මේ theory එක පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න ඕන. මම මේක චුට්ටක් delete කරනවා. Capital budgeting part එක දැස්. Now cash budgeting වල look at this one. We are going to discuss what are the benefits of preparing or what are the advantages we can enjoy by preparing a cash budget. Cash budget එකක් හදලා මොනවද වෙන්නේ advantages කියලා කතා කරන්න යන්නේ. For that තමයි you have to know this theory. මෙන්න මේ theory එක බලන්න. Now let's say in a cash budget, what we are doing is we are going to write expected cash receipts and we are going to write expected cash payments as well. මේ දෙක නේ ළමයි අපි කරන්නේ cash budgeting වල නේ. These are the two things we are going to do. Right, let's say our expected cash receipt is 150, but our expected cash payment is just 100. So you can understand there is excess on which side? Receipt side එක excess එකක් තියෙනවා. That is what you call as make a 50 ළමයි plus එකක් තියෙනවා. වැඩිපුරත් එක සල්ලි තියෙනවා. So which means once you prepare this for the next future period, you know in our future period for which we are preparing this, we will have excess. We will have an excess of cash. Again, ළමයි සල්ලි වියදම් කරන්න ඕනට වඩා අපි ළඟ දැන් future period එකේ අපි ළඟ තියෙන්නේ. කියන understanding එක නැත්නම් message එක තමයි මේ දීලා තියෙන්නේ. Clear? Now what you can do is this is even after we do all our expenses, we will have 50 some more. That is what you call an excess. මේකට කියනවා පුතා excess එකක් කියලා. excess budget එකක් කියලා කියනවා. Excess budget. Clear then? Clear then? So we can decide what we are going to do with this additional 50, whether we are going to do this as an investment. If it is an investment, we are going to invest this on which projects, or what are we going to purchase some kinds of assets, or we are going to make a deposit. So likewise we can make a decision regarding this excess budget. So that is one of the benefit we can receive by preparing a cash budget. Clear ළමයි? එහෙනම් topic එක ගන්න first topic එක ලියන්න benefits of preparing cash budgets. Benefits of preparing cash budgets. Benefits of preparing cash budget. Benefits of preparing cash budgets. Right. First one එහෙනම් ළමයි ලියමු. First one අපි ලියමු. Can identify cash excesses cash excesses. You know what you mean by cash excess. Now මේ තියෙන cash excess එකක situation එක. Cash excesses and decide how to invest this excess effectively. Decide how to invest this excess effectively. Clear neda lama understood neda? So that is one advantage or a benefit you can get from or by preparing a cash budget. Lama make anith පැත්ත reverse of this one. Make a reverse එක මොකක්ද? Now let's say if the situation was like this, අපි තුමු situation එක මෙහෙම වුණා කියලා. Now earlier situation, the receipts are more than the payments. Now here, once we prepare the cash budget for the future period, let's see if the figures came like this. We are having only 100 receipts, but we have to make 150 payments, which means what? We are again having 50, but this is a what? This is a minus 50. This is what you known as a cash deficit. මේකට කියන පුතා deficit එකක් කියලා. Cash deficit or a shortage. So again, if we prepare the cash budget, we will also be able to identify if there are any cash deficits or if there are any cash shortage. එහෙනම් excess එකක් තියනවාද කියලා identify කරගන්නත් පුළුවන්. ඒක එක benefit එකක්. Shortage එකක් තියනවාද කියලා identify කරගන්නත් පුළුවන්. That is also another benefit. එහෙනම් second point එක ලියන්න second benefit එක. Being able to identify cash deficits or shortages. Being able to identify cash deficits or shortages and get ready for them. Clear? Then you know, then මෙතන බලන්න situation එක. ඔයාට you are just getting 100 in future, but you have 150 payments in future, which means what? You have a shortage of 50. Now you have to get ready. Now still you are spending, or still you are in present. Then down present. That we have prepared this cash budget for the future period. Next month, next week, or next month or whatever. Clear the future. So we have the time to get prepared. What we are going to do for this shortage? Clear so that is how we are. That is the meaning of get ready for that. එතකොට මොකද කරන්න පුළුවන්? Simply, yes, you can apply for a what? Bank loan එකකට apply කරන්න පුළුවන් දැම්මම. Now this is going to happen in future, but you can apply for the loan now. It says දැම්මම apply කරගන්න පුළුවන්. So that is one way you can get it. එහෙනම් third point එක, third benefit එක ලියමු. Confirming future financial conditions confirming future financial conditions, confirming future financial conditions, when obtaining business loans, when obtaining business loans, when obtaining business loans, when obtaining business loans. Clear lam understood the right. Okay. Now, final point එක ලියන කලින් මම explain කරන තව point එකක් මේ බලන්න. Look at this. Now, when we are preparing this for a future period, but you know this future period will come in future. And my future period now, let's say we have prepared this for next month, which is July. Still we are in June. Clear? End of the July, we know what has actually happened. Then June will හැදුවට පුතා, we are preparing in June, but that is for July cash budget. But by July 31st, we will get to know what has actually happened. So we can compare what we prepared as cash receipts and payments, or what we prepared as expected cash receipts and expected cash payments in June. අපි June වල හැදුවා expected cash receipt එක payment එකයි. Now we can compare the actual cash receipts and actual cash payment on this date. මේ date එකේ compare කරන්න පුළුවන්. By comparing that, we can identify whether we have done it properly and are there any deviations or variations, and we can correct ourselves when we are preparing the future budget. දැන් හිතන්නකෝ මෙහෙම කියලා මෙතන 100 කියලා estimate කරපු එක actually there was a huge variance which was only about 25. So there's a huge variance. Expect kara 100, actually we got only 25. So there's something wrong in our budgetings. අපි budget කරන විදිය වැරදි එහෙනම්. නේද? So we can find those variations or that by comparing the actuals and the expected, and thereafter we can rectify ourselves or rectify our errors for the future budget preparing. Clear lam understood the එහෙනම් මේ point එක තමයි finally අපි ලියන්න යන්නේ. Right. Final advantage එක. Final advantage. Being able to compare the actuals versus expected. Being able to compare actual versus expected. And improve future budgetings, and improve future budgetings. Clear lamai, that is done. Right. Okay. Lamai, cash budget is that understood? Yes. Now we know budgeting, there are two kinds of budgeting, cash budgets and the capital budgets. We have already discussed the cash budgets, and second one what we are going to discuss is you can put 1.2 capital budgets. Capital budgets. So you can have the topic 1.2 capital budget. Right. Look at this one. What do you mean by capital budget or capital budgeting? Here, now, this is capital budgeting is always now මෙහෙමනේ පුතා මෙන්න මේ පොයින්ට් එක පුතා කහනවා මේ ටිකක් තේරෙන ආය පාරක් මෙහෙම පොයින්ට් එකක් කියලා දෙන්න මෙහාට budgeting always refers what මේ උඩින් ලියලම තියෙනවා always is focus on what future clearද future තමයි නෑ මේක always focusing on future can be short term future as well as long term future can't it be yes now tomorrow isn't that future yes it's future day after tomorrow is future next hour is future next week is future next month is future after 10 years from today that is also future clear so the if the future period we are focusing is just for a short period of time or a short term future that is what you call the short term future the day after tomorrow next week next month next quarter those are what you call the short term so cash budgets always focusing on short term future ඒක පුතස් තාමාකයක් දාලා ලියන්න ඕන නම් cash budget එක ඉවරෙච්ච කරපු තැනේ always focusing on cash budgets always focusing on short term future තමයි yes it's future but short term future clear on the points and may scene like a sort out karagan clear the short term future right now we are talking about capital budgets now we are talking about the capital budgets it's always focused on what long term future did you understand the difference between cash budget and the capital budget? Then there no difference. Araka short term future make a long term future. Clear? What? At the same time, what we are doing here, the cash budget again, we listed down our cash expected cash receipts and the expected cash payments. That is what we did in cash budget. Here, what we are going to do is we are going to decide how our existing funds how we are going to decide how our existing funds will be used or will be invested in long term or on long term assets and long-term projects. To earn future benefits. අන්න ඕක තමයි ළමයි capital budgeting වලදී අපි කරන්නේ. මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? We are going to decide how we are going to invest our what funds? Existing funds. Current funds. What we have now in our business. දැන් අපේ business එකේ තියෙන සල්ලි. Clear? We are going to decide how we are going to invest these existing funds in two things. මොනවද ළමයි two things මේ? Long term assets and the long term projects. That is what I mentioned. This is always about what? අන්න ඒක තමයි කිව්ව පුතා මොකද capital budget හැමතිස්සෙම long term පැත්ත කියන. Clear? Which means what? Long term assets වල long term projects වල තමයි අපි existing funds invest කරන්නේ. Why we are doing that? To earn future benefits. So the document we are preparing with the purpose of that is what is known as capital budget. අන්න capital budget. තේරෙනවද පුතා? Now can you understand what is the difference between the cash budgeting and the capital budgeting? Main difference is cash budgeting short term future, make a long term future. Cash budgeting is just to prepare, identify whether we have a cash excess or cash deficit. But here, to earn what? To decide whether we are going to invest on long term assets or the projects and to earn what? future benefits. Anna future benefit take da මේක හදාගන්න. Clear ළම understood the right? Is that all right? So shall we go and write? එන අපි ලියමු capital budgets topic එක. Capital budgets. Capital budgets. Planning for the investing. Planning for the investing existing funds. Planning for the investing existing funds of the organization. Planning for investing existing funds of the organization effectively on long-term assets and long-term projects. Long-term assets and long-term projects by aiming to earn future benefits. To earn future benefits, not long. To earn future benefits. To earn future benefits. Clear ළම understood the right? So that is how we did on the budgeting part එක ඉවරයි. Clear ද? ඒතර අපේ tools දෙකක් නැත්නම් instruments දෙකක් තිබුණ මතකද ළමයි? Clear ද? මෙතන instruments දෙකක් ගත්ත නෙමෙයි. We took two instruments. One is budgeting. Budgetings, there were two types, cash budgets and the capital budgets. ඔයාලා මේ ඔයාලට ඕන නම් මේවා ස්ක්‍රීන්ෂොට්ස් ටක් ගාලා දාගන්න. ක්ලියර් නේද? ඒතර මේ අපේ නෝට් එකේ ලියන්නේ ටිකක් අර ෆෝමල් විදියටනේ. If you want to have these screenshots you can have. මේවයි අර short note එකට මාරු හදාගන්න. ඔයාලා හදා ගන්නවා. Right. Okay. Right. So the budgeting part is over, but there are two instruments we want to discuss. Other one is what? Cash flow. So have a topic. එන topic එක ගන්න පුතා. අපි ගත්තේ number 1 කියලා ගත්තේ budgeting එකේ 1.1 cash budgets කියලා ගත්තා 1.2 capital budgets කියලා ගත්තා. So main number 2 එක ගන්න cash flows. Cash flow. Or we can say cash flow statement. මේක statement කියලාත් කියනවා. This cash flow statement you have perfectly learned in your accounting. වා මේක accounting වලම වාගේ තියෙන separate lesson එකක්. ඔය lesson එකක් විතර මේක උගන්වනවා. Which is one of the very important topic. But here we are just going to mean, what do you mean by cash flow? Cash flow එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියන එක විතරයි මෙතනදී ඔයාලට relevant වෙන්නේ. Other than that there won't be any questions will be tested regarding cash flows. Clear? ඒතර මෙතනදී පුතා cash flow එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? That is what we are going to discuss. Other than that ළමා වාගේ හැබැයි when you are doing accounting you should have learned this topic very perfectly. Clear? Yes, in that case you have learned this with the standards as well. There are standards ඔක්කොම දාලා ඉගෙනගෙන ඇති, but that is not the what we are going to do. We just going to mean what do you mean by this? Clear, right? Cash flow එකක් කියන්නේ මොකක්ද ළමයි? Cash flow is a kind of document we are preparing including mostly actual cash inflows and actual cash outflows. Clear? එතකොට cash inflow එක actually what happened? Actually how much of cash came? What happened to those cash? සල්ලි ආවේ කොහොමද? Yes, actually these are the ways we got the cash. And what happened to those cash? ඒ cash වල මොකද උනේ? ඒක තමයි outflow එකෙන් පෙන්නන්නේ. Clear? If you are preparing a document for this purpose, that is what you known as the cash flow. And this is really important for my cash flow. ගොඩාක් important වෙන්නේ මේ functions දෙකේ මොන function එකද? Controlling function එකට. Because it gives you a control. You can have an understand how we got the cash actually and for what purposes we spent on that. What purposes we spend this cash. Clear? So it gives you a kind of a control. So that is what you mean by the cash flow. Understood the lamai? So that's all what we have to learn about the cash flow. Document එකක් විදිහට මේක මොකක්ද කියන එක විතරයි understand කරගන්න. Clear lamai? Is that understood? So we will have the note for the cash flow. Cash flow. Cash flow is the statement. Cash flow is the statement. Cash flow is the statement which analytically shows actual or expected cash inflows, and cash outflows for a past period of time. ළමයි, before the last thing, පොඩක් අහන්න. For a past period of time, that's all. What is the difference between the cash budgeting and the cash flow? Cash budgeting is always focusing on future, but this is always based on past period. අන්න එතනයි difference එක. Clear නේද ළමයි? Clear? So this is always for a past period, but the cash flow is always for the past period, and that is cash budgeting is always for future period. So that is one of the main difference we have. Clearly, so that is almost we have completed the first part. First part, but we have another small thing to discuss. That is what you call the financial requirement and the financial investments types. Then with that point, first part. Clear? We are going to finish. Clear? So since almost the time is up now, we will wind up the session, but there's a small part remaining, but almost nearly 90% of this introduction and the first part is over. So main part there's a small part to complete. We will complete that within our next session. So next session we are going to do this balance part plus the second part, that is what you call the financial report analyzing, which is very, very important part. Then since the time is up, so we will wind up the session for today. And if you have any questions, let me know. You can drop me a WhatsApp message. You have my WhatsApp number, and or else you can bring them to the next session. Okay, right now we will winding up the session. So good night, everyone.